So our next guest is one of my favorite people in the Dental Nacho group, super positive. Also have a good story. One of the last people I saw when in-person CE was legal. Hopefully it'll be legal again. We were crouched together, standing next to each other, taking a picture. I hope people don't say that was the olden days, but I have Alison from Benco. And Benco is an awesome key resource and sponsor, an awesome company with an awesome vibe, helping you in so many different ways. If you want to reach out to Alison and Benco, just text Benco to 215-543-6454 for their contact. But I want to bring Alison on because Alison lives in this part of the dental life where supplies, cotton rolls, anesthetic, other things. So Alison, share with us, what do you do on a day-to-day basis as a Benco representative, a practice consultant, a, emergency person running over with some sort of supplies? Tell us a little bit about your life.
Hey, Paul. Thank you so much for having me. And thanks for what you do for the dental community.
Oh,
I have to just say, during the pandemic, I was glued to Dental Nachos.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
it. I was getting a lot of information and getting my, a temperature check on what was going on with the dentist. I also want to say that Benco is the third largest distributor in the US. And also something I'm very proud of is that Benco is the largest family-owned dental distributor. So
I love your guys' culture. Yes. The Cohen is awesome. They embrace it. Chuck Cohen sends me handwritten notes about stuff, which is just so kind and nice. And I've just had a great experience with the vibe of everybody who worked there. So we appreciate you guys being you.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I would say, like, as far as my daily activity, it's changed a lot since the pandemic. I would say that I'm probably leaned on even more now for my accounts, whether it's I'm handling PPE back orders, making sure they're getting the correct supplies to keep them and their employees safe and open as well. As you know, we have a lot of different categories that are it's getting more difficult to get. And I'm also supplying them with substitutions so they can keep their practice running smoothly. But I would say the biggest thing that I do is I handle my accounts problems. So something I always say is that I'm the cheapest employee you're ever going to have.
Yes. What's a good example? I mean, I love, I know one day like 10 million people will be watching this, it'll go viral. Maybe if you guys can make it go viral now, whatever that means, that would be great. But so I just like people sharing their story about what people do in their dentistry neighborhood, a lot like Mr. Rogers of Dentistry. I mean, we have my good friend Tim on here. He's an entrepreneur, super smart guy. He doesn't know what a dental rep does, right? What's an example of a problem that you helped solve over the last month, just to share with our audience what you do?
Well, I could say one problem is typically with Benco, most items, when you place the order, it's delivered next day. And I think when the offices started opening back up, they were still under that expectation. And I had one account that ordered anesthetic that they needed, and they were out and they were expecting it the next day, and it wasn't coming for another 2 days. So something that I was able to do was go to another account of mine and say, hey, so-and-so is out of lidocaine and they need it. And, I'll make it up to you, or, we'll figure it out. They were, very gracious and said, don't worry about it here,
I mean, that's ultimate JVN too. What I think reps do, and I mean, it's really using the term of rep, it's not always fair. People call me sometimes a consultant, but it's just a general term. But you guys really do bond dentists together, because you're going to one dentist saying, Dr. Guac needs something from you, Dr. Nacho. And I say, sure, give it to him. I would love, for Dr. Guac and Nacho to start talking more face-to-face. But I think that's just such a great example of why we should embrace. I mean, I've mentioned this guy once or 1 million times on the show, Gary V. It's going to be a hybrid after all this happens. So when people say we should do everything online, that has negative problems. But you weren't repping back in the 1980s where maybe people had to take all the stuff in their car. You probably don't want to do that. So it's this great hybrid world. And one thing I want to share is I went to purchase these nachos for a prop that I eat after the show. And this is a true story from like 30 minutes ago. I wasn't sure if I could go in Chipotle, right? I was like looking in the door. I was like, is it right? And that must be unique. That's for reps. We're used to having reps and people just walk into our office. But right now, if someone walked into my dental office unannounced, I would think they were an insane person, because we call people in the car. We have the temperature checks. So I think what you guys are doing is helping getting this kind of our community back going. What do you see happening over the next 3 or 4 months, basically, whether it's in supplies, is there things we should stock up on?
I would say one of the pain points that is definitely coming in the next, if it hasn't already, is gloves. There's only a few glove factories in the world, and we have outside companies now getting into the PPE business. So what they're doing is they're bidding up the cost of gloves. So I've been recommending to all my customers to stock up on whether it's
Yeah.
chloroquine or nitrile, whatever their full allotment is with their dealer, before the price increases happen. They have already started. I see them with certain glove suppliers that the prices have gone up. But work with your rep, find out which ones are still affordable, and gloves really don't expire. So I would say I
I love that
highly recommend.
advice. I've used this example, and now
Yeah,
my friend Tim is on the show. I've used this many times, but we go on a yearly golf trip. And if you only have two golf balls for 18 holes, you're never going to make it through all the 18 holes, especially the way a lot of my friends play golf. They're not going to make it through two holes. That's going to happen to us. Like Dennis, I'm very worried about what Alison just said. Stock up on stuff that doesn't expire, like your golf balls of your office, which is gloves, which is masks, which is gowns, which
right.
is anesthetic, because you don't want to regret. I mean, this concept of protecting your dentist core, whether it's what what Alan just said about investing, or what Alison just said about stocking up on gloves, it's the same thing. Do things to make your future self not mad at this person's self. Don't be cheap. A lot of this comes from weird cheapness. You got to pay for gloves anyway. So don't be dentist cheap.
Right.
So that's sort of your Allison take home point. Make sure we stock up on gloves at this time.
Yeah, it's pretty unpredictable. In the beginning of the pandemic, gloves weren't an issue. I mean, we had problems getting hand sanitizer, masks. Masks are getting better, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But now it's more towards wipes, which we didn't have an issue in the beginning, and gloves, I would say, are
I
probably the
also
two
think
items.
it's like probably going to happen to restaurants, and it'll be good for them. But I'm in Center City, Philadelphia, and we have different restrictions, and restaurants run out of stuff. That's normal. And once more people start eating at restaurants, they'll run out quicker. So I
Right.
feel like there's dental offices that still are not working at a capacity that they were a year ago, but they're kind of picking up, and they're going to be consuming more of these things. So I really appreciate that insight, Allison. Is
No
there anything
problem.
else? We're going to have a round table at the end, but how can people reach out to you directly? And is there any other insights you'd like to share with our community?
I just want to share one more insight, or
Sure.
one more situation with Banco that kind of went in the shadows that I thought is really important, is that Banco Dental never really had a practice management software. And in February, before the pandemic, we actually partnered with Open Dental. It
Cool.
is the fastest, easiest practice management software. So I kind of just wanted to bring that back into
Yeah.
the light. I would, reach out to your Banco rep. We have amazing programs right now. If you're struggling to get PPE, we have an ability, if you sign up for our Banco Select, to give small rations. I will say that we have been one of the reasons why we've been so successful with our rations and with our PPE supply is that we've been focused on customers that were already Banco loyal customers. But that doesn't mean we can't help you now. So I would say reach out to your Banco local representative. If you don't know who that is, feel free to send me an email and you
Cool.
can get that information from you.
Awesome. Great. You go to banco.com. You also can text Banco to do that. It's a true JFO. Just find out. It's not about one supplier being the supplier. It's about all of us surviving and connecting with the people in our neighborhood. But if you're in the Philadelphia area and you're as lucky to have someone like Allison in your neighborhood, it's someone you would want to know. And what you said, Allison, was so great about being the cheapest employee, and you're a problem solver. I mean, we're all problem
That's right.
solvers, and there's so many problem solvers. So but one of the things I like to share, and it goes with my ABC, always be connecting, goes with the job portion of what I do. If you don't connect early, people are not going to want to help you when you have an emergency, not because they don't like you, because they don't know you. So if you never connect with someone and you say, today's day, you might have 4 other people you need to help. You might only have 4 problems you could solve. That's why ABC, always be connecting early in a genuine way, virtually in person, so important. So